You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
What a winner there. Apparently, Hillary Clinton hasn't learned her lesson from the backlash she got after those deplorable remarks that we all remember. She just made another dismissive comment aimed at voters who are now supporting GOP candidates.
I think with all of the noise that we've got in this election season, I don't think people are able to really grasp that. But more importantly, I'm not sure they really understand the threats to their way of life.
Meanwhile, a new bombshell poll revealing white suburban women, the key voting bloc that rejected Hillary in 2016 but helped get Biden into the White House in 2020, well, they're jumping ship again. The Wall Street Journal poll shows that they are moving away from Democrats by 27%. That's just since August. And now they favor the GOP by 15%. This is extraordinary, Emily, when you look at this number. White suburban women, I would note Black and Latino voters have been moving towards the GOP steadily. There's been a trend. White working class voters, same. White suburban women, though, it's been an oscillation. I mean, we lost them in 2020, but they're coming home. This is an enormous deal and a big warning sign for Democrats as they're losing Latino vote and Black vote, too, potentially.
That's right. And this, I think the writing has been on the wall for quite some time, as we've been discussing what those polls have reflected, and also, again, what the American people have been caring about. Why is there a baby food formula shortage? Yeah. When Hillary Clinton talks about a threat to people's way of life, that's what that is about. When people are making choices about having to drive to a grocery store or not to try to find baby food formula, that's the kind of thing that is on suburban white women's minds, in addition to control over their child's education, in addition to autonomy over their own family. So all of these really fundamental issues we've been discussing for quite some time is that they've been diluted from this administration. And I have to point out as well that Hillary Clinton's continued comments just always represent the fact that no matter what, she is smarter than you, she knows more than you, you should vote the way she tells you, she's more educated than you. And remember that just within the last 3 weeks, she said that one of the problems with democracy is that it is geared toward the white and wealthy. Isn't that her? But oh, you have to listen to her because she should tell you how to vote. It is preposterous to me what an ego she has, the elite nature of her, that she still thinks she knows better than everyone in her party and somehow the GOP's as well, as does the administration, because remember, inflation is a high-class problem. When you drill into the comments, that is what actually shows what these people care about and what they think of us.
Yeah, we don't get it, Harris, but we're living it. We're living with extraordinary gas prices, roughly $2 above where they were, 40-year high in inflation. We're living this. Yes, we get it.
Yeah, but nobody can explain it. You know, even the president yesterday, I don't know if you caught his comments on inflation. It's that amount of money that you don't have at the end of the day when you, and then that's, and I mean, it was Kamala Harris like, I mean, garden salad all the way.
Yep.
So articulating what is going on with people is hard because it's not going on with them. Emily, you're right. They just don't know. I want everybody to pay attention. I don't know if we can put those numbers back up. But there's a gap between the 27% of white women in the suburbs moving away from the Democrats and 15% moving in favor of Republicans. That means that there are some people who say they're Democrat who are going to sit down. Yeah. That's the biggest concern right now for Democrats, because maybe you can sway people who are still in the game next time around. But if people sit all the way down, it's difficult to incentivize them to come back if your policies are not working. Now, in the meantime, Republicans have more ground that they can pick up, and those people who sat down, because they sat down for a reason. They can speak to, what did Bill Clinton say? I feel your pain. Gosh, you'd think Hillary would know about that.
You would think, but they made this huge calculation on abortion, Dr. Sapphire. And I think about, sitting around the kitchen table and what you talk about at night. These white suburban women in particular, a lot of them have families. They're not sitting down and saying, hey, can I get an abortion today? And that's the risk and the calculation Democrats made. What they're saying is, can I afford the food at the grocery store? Can I afford to send my kid to college? What is my kid learning at school? Are they going to survive the streets where there's a crime wave? And when you look at the poll, it bears out that anecdotal comparison. If you look from August to now, so 11% more white suburban women now think there's going to be a recession. 15% more now say the economy's bad. That's just since August. There's this double-digit shift on the economy, stupid, as Carville would say.
Well, and I think you're seeing the change because as we go forward, the Biden White House is not putting forth a plan. He's not saying it's going to be okay because he's not even acknowledging that there's a problem right now. And I can, to Emily's point, the condescension that comes out of Hillary Clinton is repugnant and it completely embodies the entire elite attitude of much of the Democratic leadership. And so that is why they're so disconnected from voters. Economy, crime, fentanyl, and school choice.
Yep.
That is what is important when it comes to the safety and security of families. So when you are talking about affluent, well-educated female voters in the suburbs, they care about their family right now. That is what they are going towards. Sometimes you can see that they will swing, they'll oscillate, as you said earlier, and vote based on principles when the economy is kind of in its ebb and flow. But the economy is not in its ebb and flow right now. And while they will statistically do much better than many other people because they make more money traditionally, we're in a bad place right now, and they need leadership that is going to take care of them and ensure the safety and security of their family, and the Republicans are vowing to do just that.
But bring in the cavalry. They have a plan. Fear not, Joe. They tried this trio last week, and this trio was Fetterman, Joe, and Kamala. And I'm like, wow, who do I want on my team? None of them. They have a new trio they're bringing in this week. Yeah. That would be Kathy Hochul, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris. They're going to stand on a stage together and rally in New York. So which trio would you take? And is this a winning trio?
I just hope that we preempt everything on this network to show those speeches back to back. And then sit back and say, okay, what are these folks saying that if I'm a voter at home and I'm on the fence, that they're going to make my life better if they get reelected? Instead, as we've talked about, it's all about threats to democracy and January 6th. Here's the bottom line. White suburban women make up 1/5 of the electorate.
It's huge.
The mama bears are coming home because they're concerned for their children's future, whether it be fentanyl, whether it be education now, and whether it be an economy that appears to be going in the wrong direction. 71% say the country is on the wrong track. If you're the party in power, that'd be a problem, Kelly.
And mama bears say that they're very motivated. 85% say they're going to vote. That is one of the biggest slices of enthusiasm.
You're a mama
But
bear.
not actual
Mama bears
bears
coming for you. Mama bears.
Because that would be interesting.
Not actual bears, but we're pretty tough.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.